Okay. We are going live. Let's wait for it. Let's just confirm. Awesome. All right, we're live. Okay, everybody. Hello. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're watching from. It's so nice to see you here. My name is Jake Sussman, and welcome back. For those of you who don't know, I'm a Dyslexia ADHD influencer and entrepreneur, founder of Superpower Consulting, a mentorship firm for kids with dyslexia and ADHD around the world to have their own mentor. So since quarantine started, I've been interviewing some really cool people, all from the world of dyslexia and ADHD, from parents to kids to leaders and business leaders. And tonight, I have someone very special with me. And if you're tuning in, I would just love if you can tell me where you're watching from. You know, Barbara, there's something so cool about community and sharing. And when we have our community start sharing where they're watching from, we have people all over the world. It's amazing. So please tell me where you're watching from. And just so you know, we're on Zoom here, so there's a little bit of a delay. So please ask questions and I'll do my best to answer them. So Barbara, welcome.
Yeah.
So here I have Barbara Wirostko Morelli, who is an entrepreneur. She's the founder of the James Morelli Legacy Foundation. She's a TedX speaker. She's a Dyslexia SuperMom. She is so much. She's a researcher. She's a clinician. Oh my goodness, I can keep going. But I just would love for you just take a minute. Why don't you just introduce yourself? And let's get into this. We're going to talk a lot about tapping into the true dyslexic potential here.
So thank you, Jake. It is just such an honor to be on this. This is actually is the first time I've ever done a live Facebook interview. So this is really cool. Yes. So, I guess I describe myself as a physician, but foremost, a parent. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. And I guess one of my probably biggest job descriptions is I nurture, whether it's family, now my awardees through our foundation, we nurture them, and then I nurture my patients. But yes, life has been a very interesting path for sure, not something I think many of us would actually have chosen for ourselves.
Yeah. Now, tell me a little bit about that path, because Barbara, we have parents from all over watching this, and especially our moms out there. And shout out to our moms, because you are the true superheroes. You're the ones here that are just really pushing hard for our kids and making the world a better place. So, Barbara, what was that like for you, and and just moving that forward? Yeah.
So it was a very interesting path. Both my husband and I are trained in medicine. We're not trained in education, and our oldest son Joseph always would struggle with reading, struggle with grammar. Looking back, had all the telltale signs of dyslexia, and we missed it. We completely missed it. We believed in the school system, which also missed it. And it was when he was a freshman in high school that he really started to struggle. And we went down looking for a medical reason for his anxiety and for his depression and for his headaches and his shortness of breath and his ringing in his ears. We did MRIs, we did all hosts of different types of medical evaluations, including a brain MRI, trying to figure out why. And in hindsight, it was all anxiety. It was anxiety, basically struggling in a classroom and not knowing why he was struggling. What was really interesting too was because like so many of our students, they're gifted in one way and they struggle in another. He was able to adapt. He was able to get by until the work got too hard. And that was when he was a freshman in high school. We finally had him diagnosed and we had to fight the school system. We had to hire the lawyers. And when he finally got the diagnosis of dyslexia, he started to succeed, and he went from failing to honors and, straight A's. He made Dean's List. I think what was so crazy was even his anxiety and his depression. When he was in college, he ended up at Montana State University on Dean's List in mechanical engineering. And I asked him, are you still taking your antidepressants? And he said, oh, no, I stopped those years ago. And when I said, why? He's like, because I feel good about myself. And it was really feeling good about himself and knowing that he, used the word, kids identify with other children and label themselves. He felt dumb. He felt like he couldn't succeed. He felt like he was letting everybody down. Now, he felt that he could succeed. And as he said, he felt smart. And then that junior year of college was when he was killed in a car accident. And that, took us down another path. Yeah.
I can only imagine, Barbara, and there's a certain point where we talk about a child who was really pushing and, wanting to understand a little about themselves, and just a little bit more about that piece of when he was trying to understand who he was it like, what point did you discover his dyslexia? Was it when you said it was too late? Like, was it in like?
So it was when the high school guidance counselor basically told us that he was not high school material and that we should take him out of high school. And I said, well, I think, I think he's got a learning challenge. And they said, well, no, we would have picked it up. We would have diagnosed it. So that was probably now about 12 years ago. So not that long ago. We're not talking about the 1960s. We're talking about, the 21st century. I think the other thing that was really eye-opening too is he always felt that math was his strong subject, and that always gave him pride. And he had joy in the fact that he did well in math because he was failing, English and struggling with history. And when he started to fail math that freshman year of high school was when it was word problems. And that was sort of another eye opener that, yes, he was struggling with reading. So again, looking back on it, but it's not that simple. These kids don't have, they're not holding up signs saying, look at me, I'm struggling in X, Y, and Z, have me tested.
Right. And for our parents watching, I mean, can you relate to that? I mean, to have someone that you love, your child, going through such a thing, and then, wanting just to be there with them and not understanding how. And that's something that it's often so challenging, and people already saying here that they relate, they can really relate. Now, after, go ahead.
Jake,
Yeah.
you just said something really, really critical too, because I always said that I went from the parent that no one knew in the school system to the parent that everyone knew. And you have to advocate for your child.
So how do you do that? How do you go from the parent that nobody knows to the parent that everybody knows? Because I feel like a lot of moms and dads and parents are stuck because they want their kids to have a voice, but their kids don't have a voice just yet. So they have to be the voice for them. So how do we be that voice for our kids, going from nothing to something?
I think it's just being persistent, again, with Joseph, we could have said, you're right, pull him out of high school. He's not high school material. Well, what does that mean? This is a kid that ended up on Dean's List once he got his accommodations. And it was us saying, something's not right. Something's not right. And our pediatrician also said the same thing. She said, I don't understand. Like, why is Joseph struggling so much in school? And they start to say, well, is there something going on at home? No, there wasn't. a negative behavior. And it's just really trying to tease it out. And it's constantly asking, something's not right. Help me figure that out. And ultimately it's testing, it's, working with the school system. It's, in our case, was hiring a lawyer as well.
Right.
And he wasn't just a little bit dyslexic. He was really severely dyslexic. When he graduated high school, and he was in a very good high school, he was still at a 6th grade reading level.
Right.
So there was a lot of remediation that had to be done.
May I just ask you here, just on this topic, and for our parents just tuning in here, please feel free to ask some questions to us. I have Barbara Wirostko, who is just such phenomenal woman, and she's a mentor of mine. I really admire her work, and I'm excited for you to share what you've done with the tragedy of losing your son, to really taking his legacy and transforming the lives and giving opportunities for kids with dyslexia around the country. And we were just talking about going from nothing to something, going from nobody knows me in this district, no one knows who I am, to everyone knows who I am. And I think there's so much power in that, because it can give us an opportunity to want to share about our kids. So take me through a little bit what happened after junior year, about what after Joseph, and how did that turn to the Legacy Foundation?
So, it's a nightmare you just never want to live through. And, I immediately, what people do is they want to give, right? They want to reach out, and how can we help you? And they send flowers and they send food. And what was really cool about Joseph is he was very much somebody that was a minimalist. He had one pair of pants, he had one pair of shoes, that sort of thing. And I knew that if all these people would be sending us flowers that were going to die, that would actually upset him, because it was a waste. So someone said to me the next day after he was killed, they said, have you ever thought about setting up a scholarship? And I said, no, I have no idea how to do that. And they put me in touch with someone that was a executive director at a local nonprofit charity. So again, if anybody wants to set up a foundation or a scholarship. And what we realized and what we thought about was Joseph couldn't be the only one. There has to be other students out there that don't have the resources. We did not have the knowledge. We had to try to find, the people to help us. We had to have them tested. We could afford the testing, but there had to be children that can't afford the testing, or don't have the resources, or don't have, the wherewithal to understand why they're struggling in school. And we wanted to help those kids. We didn't want them to fail. I mean, Joseph so easily could have failed and dropped out of high school. And it was really us, fighting behind him. It was a struggle. It was really hard. These kids are so down on themselves and low self-esteem, and, the negative behavior, it's tough. And we said, and lo and behold, now in its 7th year, we get over 200 applicants a year from around the country. High school, college students who are pursuing a STEM degree, who have learning challenges like dyslexia, and we award them scholarships. And I think what's so amazing is we get to know these kids, and their stories inspire us, and they are so thankful for the recognition. I mean, you know what it's like.
Yeah.
Somebody believes in me. That's what I hear all the time. It's not about the money. It's about the belief. It's about the empowerment. Someone has heard their struggles.
Can I just tell you right now that our Facebook, the feed, is blowing up with hearts, with hug emojis, with, someone said, thank you for sharing your story, Barbara. My heart goes out to you. These are people that are hearing you and just feeling you. And we're so together right now. You know that? And I just want you to know that there is
I start to cry.
It's okay. It's okay. This is the power of community, right? Everyone, is this not the power when there are people that you don't even know who's watching us right now? And yet people are feeling the story because we're just together. We're just together. And I just want you to know that. And
Thanks,
what
Jake.
you've created, Barbara, a foundation in Joseph's legacy to then give kids an opportunity that otherwise they wouldn't have.
Yeah.
That is something to strive for.
Yeah. It's really incredible. It's really, yeah. And that was one thing, at first we thought that, the money, we thought, okay, it can help them pay for tutoring, pay for testing, pay for tuition, assistive technology. They can use it any which way they want. But again, the stories of these kids, and we've got now several students that have graduated, and, they keep thanking us. Like, you believed in me, you empowered me, you helped me feel good about myself. And I think that's what we saw with Joseph. It was such an incredible transformation once a student feels like they can accomplish something, whatever that is. And we don't dictate that. Our kids can go to a 2-year community college and they can be a mechanical, technician on airplanes, or they could be going on to graduate school for mechanical engineering. We don't dictate what they have to do,
Right.
but they've got to be like Joseph. That's, they remind us of
So
Joseph.
tell me about your foundation. Tell me about the Morelli Foundation right now. Okay, so how many applications do we get? How many kids have we impacted since its inception?
So since its inception, so it's funny, the first year we thought we did really, really well because we had 8 applications. And I think we selected 2 and we gave away like $2,000. Last year, we gave away $76,000 to 41 kids.
Oh my God.
So up to now, we've given away $230,000.
Are you serious?
To 76 students and multiple.
$230,000 to 76 students that are going to college. Dyslexic students, right? Dyslexic students going to college.
That are either high
Are these
school.
kids around the country or are these?
They're around the country. We've got very strong ties with Utah. We've gotten upwards of $70,000 from the Sorensen Legacy Foundation, which supports education in the state of Utah. So we do an extra, special reach in Utah. We would love to have the same impact in other states. We have kids across 32 states, I think to date, maybe 36 states. And we also have a special tie with MSU. We've got several kids at Montana State. And in fact, the Dean of Engineering at Montana State University is on our review committee. We've got, a very strict policy and procedures in place for reviewing applicants. It's very stringent. They go through several review processes. They have to fill out an online application. So there's a process, and we're very proud of what we're doing and selecting our students. And what's really cool is once a student enters our scholarship or is awarded our scholarship, they become part of the JJM LF Legacy Foundation family. And we want to continue to support them. And that's where you've come in, right?
Oh, me? Who's that?
You.
Oh, I'm involved?
Yes.
You guys have to hear this. This is pretty cool. Okay, get ready.
So in the mentoring, and then I'll let Jake talk a little bit about this, but what we saw with our students is the finances are great, but they're not enough. These kids are still struggling. They're not getting their accommodations. They don't understand how the disability system works. They're no longer able to have their parents advocate for them, so they have to advocate for themselves. And I stay in touch with these kids, but I'm an N of 1, and we've got so many kids that we needed to have a bigger outreach and impact more of these students continuously through the school year. We couldn't let them give up on themselves. And that's how Jake and I started to collaborate on the mentoring program.
Almost a year ago, I think we started talking.
Almost a year ago.
Amazing. Barbara has been such a supporter and a believer of my work since the beginning, since I quit my job, literally, probably. And I don't even remember how we met, but it was
in Utah.
Oh, that's right. You did
Remember
live in
when you
Utah.
came?
Right. That was right. I quit my job and flew out to Utah to speak, and you were there. We go.
Decoding Dyslexia
Just
Utah.
shout
You
out to
spoke at
Decoding Dyslexia Utah with Phoebe and everyone. You guys are just rock stars. So what we've created is something really important, because what we're seeing around the country is that 30% of US college freshmen drop out of school every single year in the United States. Oh my God.
And we
the
saw
number
that.
doesn't even make sense.
And we saw that with our applicants, because we said, why are these kids not reapplying? You know, it's once you have an application, once you're an awardee, we want to continue to support you. We're invested in you.
Right.
And these kids weren't reapplying. And then we find out they've dropped out, they've changed schools, they've changed majors, they've taken time off, they've struggled.
Right.
We had to get them through that freshman hurdle.
Absolutely. And we, as Superpower Consulting, we recognize that you got work to do. We have kids that we need to impact. And what we've created here is pretty cool, because a mentorship program to help students transition from high school to college is so critical, especially with someone with ADHD and dyslexia, to be able to navigate these new learning environments all on your own. There's so much you have to balance. So imagine if they had a mentor, right, that has already been in college or in college still, that's in the Morelli Foundation's scholarship program already. And now we can connect them. This is what we're doing. And our mission here is to lower the college dropout rate together. We're going to do it together.
Yep. And keep these kids in school, no matter how long it takes. If
Yes.
takes 3 years, 5 years, we will continue to support them.
Absolutely.
As long as they're, working towards it and doing their best, we will support them.
Yep, we will. And we're not going to stop, because it's part of our mission. 100%. And my friends, if you have questions, please ask away for Barbara. She is just, I'm telling you, when I first heard about the foundation, the Joseph James Morelli Legacy Foundation, for those of you who would like to look it up, I really recommend that you do. Also, Barbara is a TEDx speaker. Wait, can you just tell me about that experience? What was that like?
Nerve-wracking. So it was through the TEDx group up in Bozeman. Someone had recommended me because of Joseph's story and because of our connection with Montana State and us having, several awardees at Montana State. They recommended that I would be a good speaker. And so that's also online. And I think you posted it. So thank you, Jake, so much.
Yeah.
And it was really, again, to tell Joseph's story, because it's not unique. And I think that was the biggest aha moment, even with these applicants. I mean, you should see. So I've had the same committee of reviewers. We've got special ed professors, we've got lawyers, we've got teachers, we've got family and friends. My daughter's on the committee. And every year I ask the committee, the dean of Montana State University in engineering, every year I say, you can step off, it's been 6 years now, it's been 5 years. And they said, no, this is so rewarding to read these applications. And it's a lot of work. I mean, to have 200 applications to go through.
First of all, 200 applications alone is unbelievable.
And, but it's his story is unique, but it's not unique. There's so many kids that are suffering and that their stories are not being heard. And that was what the TEDx talk was about, was to raise awareness, just like you're doing.
Right. And that's where, look, all of us watching this, tell me if you agree with this, right? Enough's enough. Enough's enough. Our kids are struggling today in 2020, almost 2021. And we hear stories about this for 50, 75, 100 years ago, talking about people with dyslexia or ADHD that were misunderstood, that were told they couldn't do the thing, that were bullied, that were isolated, and anxiety.
Well, Jake, what's crazy now that I've seen, so it's right. It's an area of I've become an expert in this area, not by choice, right? So having to understand what these kids are going through in the different schools. And I think this is one key thing for parents is please, please, please do your homework. Look at the schools that your child is thinking of applying to. Look and see where the disability office is. It is shocking. So I'm not going to name the schools, but there's 2 schools in particular, sharp, 180-degree different. You walk into one school and there on the first floor, right next to the admissions office, is the disability office. It's bright, it's colorful, there's windows, there's, administrative support and help there at the window to help the students. You go to another large university and you ask, where's the disability office? And it's in the basement,
Right.
in a corner, no windows, no staff. What message is that sending to anyone with any disability? I mean, I'm an ophthalmologist. If someone is blind, they can't even freaking find the room in the basement. I mean, that's not the message we should be sending,
Right.
especially, in these days with diversity and equality.
Right. I mean, just talk about that in and of itself. I mean, New York City public schools literally sound like prisons. PS 113. I mean, come on. Like, what happened to just the enjoyment of wanting to go to school? Schools shouldn't feel like a prison. Unfortunately, they do feel like that. And I think you're in a very unique position with the foundation. And by the way, who here is watching this that has kids interested in STEM, science, technology, engineering, math? Because I want to know. I know you have kids out there, because I mean, these are our builders. These are our engineers. I mean, look at Elon Musk, right? We need builders. We're literally going to Mars, right? And please let us know. What's that?
Leonardo da Vinci.
Oh, I mean, come on. But
creativity.
Here's something that I want to say, because I'm going to do this now, because I was going to do this earlier today, and everyone here is going to get a debut of this idea I had yesterday. And I had a conversation with one of my mentees about when the music isn't playing. Okay. There's this whole conversation where we always hear these big stories of Leonardo da Vinci and, all these other people, Albert Einstein, and these people that have done great, achieved great feats, but also had dyslexia or ADHD. Even our celebrities, or even someone as simple as maybe someone who just overcame an obstacle. But the question is, and what we often forget, is what happens when no one's watching. Okay. And that is the thing there that I want to just talk about, because it's that hard work that takes place before all the recognition happens. Right now, I'm going to show everyone this because I think it's awesome. All right. Who here has seen Rocky? Have you seen Rocky? You know Rocky? Do you have a favorite favorite Rocky movie? Or
oh my God, wasn't there like 4 of them or something?
It's such a classic. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I want to show everyone this, because it's going to be great. All right, first we're going to do is we're going to watch the 1 minute of the Rocky motivational scene. Okay, with the music, and I'm going to stop it. And what I want you to do is just think about how you feel watching this. Okay, you ready? Let's do it. Oh, yeah. Yeah. How did you feel? How did you feel when you were watching that, Barbara?
Motivated.
Motivated?
Yes.
Okay. And
Captivated,
for those
motivated,
of you watching this, tell me how you were feeling watching this moment. Okay. Were you feeling like I couldn't sit still. I was just,
energized.
it's just so awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to watch this again, but on mute. How'd you feel then?
Nothing, right? Non-motivating at all.
Not only is it not motivating, and I want you to tell me, for those of you watching, how did you feel watching this in complete silence? Okay. This is really cool because, Barbara, what we saw here was the pain and the challenges that look, Rocky is not comfortable doing this right now, right? I mean, like, look at him. The guy's just like going through pain and challenges and look at the guy's just being, that doesn't look fun. But what happened is that now here we are on the other side. So when we want to put in the hard work, that is what we're seeing when the music's not playing. Right?
Yeah.
And what a good friend of mine, he's watching this now. His name's Tamer. He told me this for the first time. And shout out to Tamer for this because it really changed everything, because it's so easy to look at what everyone's done, but so often we forget all the things that they had to do to get there. And our kids are right now in the moment over the music's not playing. There's no music playing. When no one's watching you, that's really the true test. And it's just something that I thought was unbelievably inspiring to think about as it relates to our kids. So that was my Rocky situation that happened this morning.
No, that's actually really interesting, Jake. You're right. It's like all the hard work that goes on that just doesn't get noticed.
Yeah, completely. So let me ask you, Barbara, do you have, so when, we have a lot of parents watching us right now, and you have a lot of experience working with college students, especially dyslexic college students. What are some tips that you can give some of our parents that have kids a little bit, not really thinking about college yet, but could be a really good, just some good advice?
I think, again, really do your homework, really learn about the school. And if you can, connect with some of the counselors there, learn where the disability office is, learn how easy it is or how difficult it is for your students to get accommodations. Because again, the IEP no longer travels to college, so to speak. And you're not going to be called in as a parent to sit down with the counselor because your child, when they turn 18, is an adult. Your child is going to need to learn how to advocate for themselves. And again, that's where your mentoring program is so critical. But really knowing what the support that the student needs, what accommodations your child may need. And also, I think one huge learning is there's no reason why that first semester that student needs to take a full course load. They don't need to take 15 or 18 credits. See if they can take 10 or 12. just to ease into it, because college is hard enough, right? Freshman year of college is really hard. New environments, new learning styles, large classes, and also look for smaller classes. That's another thing too. I've found that my kids have become, I call them my kids, all my awardee kids, um, are more successful, obviously, when they try to find smaller classes or look at satellite locations for the college. Or the other big thing too is think about doing a year or two at a community college. They
Oh,
are much more hands-on, much better with accommodations. They're the bright offices that are on the first floor welcoming these students. And it's not unheard of to do a year or two, at a community college and then transfer to a bigger university once they've got some courses under their
right.
belt. You can
Again,
navigate
that
the system a little better.
transition is so key. It's so key, and getting that down is critical. It's not about pushing our kids, right?
Mhm.
We want to push our kids, obviously. We want them to achieve what they are going to
But
become one day. But
it's not
what's the but?
pushing them,
Yeah.
it's setting them up for success.
Thank you. Even better. It's setting them up for success. And that means not what you want as parents, because that's different. Not what dad wants, not what mom wants, but it's what your kids want. If that means doing the thing that goes against what you envision as what's going to make the most money, like if your kids are interested in marine biology and you're pushing them to go to accounting, their emotional well-being, look, they may not be happy if they do the thing you want to do, but they will be happy doing the marine biology. And guess what? If you're concerned about the money, I'll tell you right now, the money is going to come. If you're good at what you
The,
do, the money is going to come.
the other thing too is utilize the summers. If your child is, struggles with dyslexia and really struggles with English and reading, save that as a summer class. Take that as a community college, at a community college, one class during the summer, and then transfer those credits to the university.
When I was in college, I went to two universities. One, I went to Roger Williams University in Rhode Island, and then I transferred to the University of Hartford for my senior year, which is another story in and of itself. Nothing bad, don't worry. But I will say that when I decided to take a longer road, taking four courses a semester. And I ended up graduating the same graduation year, but instead of graduating in the spring, I graduated in the fall. Now, let me tell you, no one wants to sit through 3 hours of a graduation. That graduation is usually much shorter because not as many kids graduate in the fall. So it's great, I'll tell you. But it also allowed me to chill, to try new things. I started a business in college, which is why I transferred. And I was trying new things. I built two new organizations, and I really had a chance to discover myself instead of just being swamped in the books. Because what's the priority? It's becoming a professional academic, or is it to become the thing that you want to become? Right. And if that's being a professional academic, that's your choice. That's that. But, so yeah, look, I think that this has been such a wonderful conversation, and I'm so happy that you joined us tonight. Now, Barbara, where can people find you, and how can people apply for this scholarship?
So our website's really easy. It's Morelli, Morelli.foundation. And our applications open up January. So our application is open from January till March. It's a link on the website. It's all web-based. And there's a few, simple questions. We want to hear about their struggles, what they've learned, what their goals are. We ask for a transcript, a letter of recommendation, and then also documentation of a learning reading based auditory processing challenge. And we usually we select our applicants and award them in May. And then the tuition or the scholarship is for the following year.
Awesome.
So, but we've had some students use it for summer courses as well after they've received it. And then again, they can use it towards anything that helps them be successful.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. And I have a few announcements as well. On Thursday at 12 o'clock Eastern time, I am hosting a free parent live session, info session to learn more about the Super Squad mentorship program, really to give parents an opportunity to hear what mentorship is like and how mentorship can help your kids overcome obstacles and really have that role model in their life that also can emotionally relate to them. Super important. So that's Thursday at 12 o'clock, Thursday again at 8 o'clock p.m., and then Sunday at 11 o'clock a.m. If you do have questions about that, please feel free to reach out to me directly or just visit our Facebook page, Superpower Consulting, superpower like Superman Consulting. That's that. And I also have a surprise interview coming up on Wednesday, which I'm happy to share with you. I'll be posting that tomorrow. Yeah, we got a lineup coming. So keep posted on the Facebook page and definitely check out the Morelli Foundation. Really amazing work, giving kids an opportunity and hope.
And if you like, please like our Facebook page as well.
And I will share the Facebook page as well so we can get some.
Awesome. Thanks,
Okay.
Jake.
Awesome. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us this evening. And Barbara, have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. You too, Jake.
Bye.
Thank you.